need to know to get started, such as winding a bobbin, threading the needle, selecting a stitch, changing the needle, and more. Let's start by taking a tour of the machine. The first thing we're going to do is plug in the machine and turn it on. And you'll know the machine is on when the light comes on. We have the hand wheel, the bobbin winding stopper, the bobbin winding spindle, the handle, the spool pin where we'll put our thread, the stitch width dial to adjust the width of our stitches, the needle position dial, the tension dial to fine-tune the look of our stitches, the bobbin winding tension discs, a metal threading guide, another metal guide, and here's the take-up lever. This will be really important when we thread the top of the machine. On the front we have the reverse lever to sew in reverse, the stitch length dial to adjust the length of our stitch, the stitch selector dial, and by the needle we have the all-purpose foot and the presser foot lifter to raise and lower our presser foot. Here we have the bobbin holder with a bobbin already inside, and we can take off the removable storage compartment to expose our free arm. And that's really great for sewing small circular projects like pants hems and cuffs. Behind the free arm is the drop feed lever. You can move that lever to drop your feed teeth, and that is especially useful for sewing on buttons and free motion quilting. We can open our removable storage compartment to reveal our included accessories. These include some bobbins, needles, a spool cap, and some additional presser feet. Let's take a closer look at those presser feet. In addition to the all-purpose foot that comes on your machine, you get a buttonhole foot used for sewing buttonholes, a button sewing foot used for sewing on buttons, and a zipper foot used for inserting zippers, and it can also be used for inserting piping. Up we have the bobbin winding stopper and bobbin winding spindle, the carry handle, the spool pin where we'll put our thread when we thread the machine, the stitch width dial to adjust the width of our stitches, the tension dial to fine-tune the look of our stitches, the bobbin winding tension disc, a metal threading guide, another metal guide, the take-up lever, which will be really important when we thread the machine. On the front, we have the reverse lever, the stitch length dial, and the stitch selector dial. Down by our needle, we have the built-in needle threader, the needle, the all-purpose foot, and behind the all-purpose foot, we have the presser foot lifter, which raises and lowers our presser foot. When we remove the accessory tray, we expose the free arm of the machine. And when we open the door, we have accessories inside. In this pouch, we have some essentials like needles, extra bobbins, a spool cap, and some additional presser feet, as well as a buttonhole foot. Let's take a look at some of those extra presser feet that come with our machine. In addition to the all-purpose foot that's already on your machine, you get the buttonhole foot for making buttonholes, the button sewing foot for sewing on buttons, and the zipper foot, used for inserting zippers into your projects, but it can also be used for piping. Now let's wind a bobbin. The first thing we need to do to wind a bobbin is take off the removable storage compartment and open this door. Here we'll find our bobbin case. Pull this little latch and remove the case. And retrieve your bobbin. This machine uses Class 15 transparent bobbins. If you want to purchase more bobbins for your machine, make sure you purchase Singer Class 15 transparent bobbins. To wind our bobbin, place a spool of thread onto the spool pin and cap it off with a spool cap. Bring the thread to metal guide number 1 and clip it in. Now I'm going to bring the thread down to number 2, the bobbin winding tension discs, and make sure the thread is snug in between those discs. Then I'm going to bring the thread over to number 3, which is our bobbin winding spindle. The bobbin doesn't have a designated top or bottom, so make sure you thread the thread in and out the top of the bobbin. Hold on to the thread tail and click the bobbin into place on the bobbin winding spindle. Make sure the bobbin is all the way on the spindle so that the thread doesn't accidentally wind around the spindle itself. Move the bobbin winding spindle over to the right, hold on to the thread tail, and press the foot control to begin winding. When the thread tail is buried, clip the tail flush with the top of the bobbin and continue winding until the bobbin is full or until you have enough thread for your project. When you're done winding your bobbin, move the bobbin winding spindle back to the left, remove the bobbin, and clip the thread. Now we're ready to insert it into the machine. Now place the bobbin into the bobbin case and pull the thread to make sure the bobbin is rotating in a clockwise motion. Place the thread into this groove and bring the thread under the metal plate. You will feel and hear it click into place. Now hold on to this latch on the front of the bobbin case and insert it, and you will feel it set into place. This finger will be pointed up towards the top of the machine. The first thing I'm going to do before threading the top of my machine is raise the presser foot. Next, turn the hand wheel towards you so that the needle is in the highest position. You will also notice that the take-up lever is clearly visible. If you've just wound a bobbin, the top of your machine probably looks like this. Remove the thread from the bobbin winding tension discs. The thread is already in metal guide number 1. Bring it around metal guide number 2 and bring it down number 3. Do a U-turn at number 4 and bring it up to the take-up lever and go from the right to the left and bring it back down. You'll see the thread go into the eye of the take-up lever. Bring the thread down to number 6 and slip it into the guide right above the needle. This machine has a built-in needle threader, so bring the thread over to the metal hook and push down on the built-in needle threader so that it encompasses the needle. Bring the thread in between the 2 prongs